Welcome to a new series where I'll be covering altcoins, reviewing them, and ensuring that you understand why they won't do well in this bull run. Today's altcoin is a DeFi altcoin that I believe is set to 20x or possibly even more in this bull run from the current prices. We're dealing with an absolute gem of a coin. And today, well, I'm not going to really try to convince you why. I'm just going to show you the facts and make you make that call yourself. Now, don't forget, if you do enjoy today's content or you are a fan of this altcoin, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel, guys. We aren't just doing altcoin reviews. We're keeping up with the current trends with news and covering a whole wide array of crypto news right up and beyond this bull run. So, what is this altcoin? It's Injective, a Web3 Layer 1 DeFi altcoin. This project focuses on allowing developers to build very customizable DeFi applications called modules, right? Well, the applications, but they allow you to plug and play with different modules. So if you want, let's just say X, Y, and Z, we'll look at this in a second, you can combine them and make an application very quickly and easily. That's great, because the more applications you have on a project like Injective or Layer 1, the more end users like you and I you have, because people want to use these products. So this market cap, as you can see here, is about 1.7 billion. So it's definitely a large cap. But again, I think the multiples are on the table still here, and I think will dwarf these current prices in the bull run. Now, the trading volume is 100 million. I used to look at that and go, well, trading volume is pretty important comparable to the market cap. No, it's not. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's not important because trading volume increases when there's speculation on the asset. Now, most projects don't have enough trading volume because essentially, if the ecosystem's big, the trading fees themselves, right, the transaction fees rather, they're so minute that it doesn't make any sense that this is going to sort of cause any volume pressure or buy pressure for the token, okay? It's just because it's so small. But good news is, total supply is pretty much all out. Again, we'll look at this all today. And this is actually a Cosmos Layer 1 project, okay? So it runs on the Cosmos SDK. So basically it's super fast, but has only a few validators, and it can't get too many validators, which is okay, I guess, for this bull run. Long story short, it's also connected to Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and all the other connected networks on what's called the IBC, or Cosmos's expanded universe, we can pretty much say. Now, the markets are pretty comprehensive in this, which is good, because when you have a lot of markets on a cryptocurrency, what ends up happening is it becomes very easy for people to be able to buy the token, less sort of barriers to entry. The only downside of this, of course, is the fact that when a token launches on a new exchange, it does cause a massive price spike, but ultimately I think Injective's at the size and the market cap anyway, so it wouldn't really make much difference if it wasn't on, say, Binance, for example. So all ticks all around, very easy, accessible, and so on. Now, like I said, it is a large cap, okay? So it pretty much fits into the 20% risk category, which is this here. So lower risk altcoins in the 1 billion to 25 billion market cap range. But in saying that, there is obviously reduced reward. You're not dealing with a coin like the high risk, extremely high reward altcoins that are like the micro caps, okay? So I think for a lot of people, this fits into a really nice category where you can go really heavy into it and still expect some life-changing rewards. Now, let's discuss what I call Pumpamentals. Pumpamentals is such an important thing you need to understand, and in these altcoin reviews, you will see why. Forget metrics, forget solely looking on-chain and trying to dive into the technical details to understand what will make an altcoin go up, okay? None of that stuff matters. Trust me, I've spent like very close to 20,000 hours in this industry to always come back to, okay, well, what makes a project pump? Diving into the details, only to find that what's behind me, this, Pumpamentals. This is what matters, okay? So let me take you through what matters, and we'll begin, first of all, with the narrative, okay? So as you can see here, a rising tide lifts all boats. What do I mean by this? Well, let's dive into it. So as an area in crypto, again, this is a Web3 Layer 1 DeFi altcoin. First and foremost, that's what people know it as. So if we come to something like this over here, which I cover all these narratives and I rank them personally in my bull run cheat sheet, we can see that DeFi is, I believe, going to be a 9 out of 10, and Layer 1 Web3 coins a 10 out of 10 in terms of their power for this bull run. That ultimately means that most altcoins in these areas will do quite well. They'll likely, at least in my opinion, 5 to 10x from these current prices. You will find some don't, okay? You'll find ones that are standout-ish ones that you really kind of have to, I guess, be unlucky with. But for the most part, they will all do well. go up certain multiples. If we dive down on the contrary and have a look at some of these ones like NFTs, IoT, social, like these really weak narratives, chances are you have to really be very specific and try your hardest to find the ones that will do well. Oftentimes, again, just like in the opposite way with these altcoins like Injective, you kind of have to really get lucky with the ones that do well. Of course, in this case, get unlucky with the ones that will do unwell. So with that being said, Web3 Layer 1 and DeFi, overall 19 out of 20 in the score. In my opinion, it's not an S tier. All right, some of these altcoins are S tier narrative, amazing altcoins that have like 10 different narratives, and most of them are high quality narratives. This is a 19 out of 20, but it still makes the A tier, which is right up there because, I mean, guys, Web3 Layer 1 and DeFi, you can't get too much better. And sometimes being the jack of all trades won't get you that far. Sometimes if you're kind of the master of one, or in this case, master of two, you're much more unique and in a very set area. So in my opinion, you cannot go wrong with Injective's narratives. Plus, I do not want to forget as well that what we're dealing with here is a very large market, right? $531 billion both of these narratives kind of encompass within crypto, which, guess what? That's 26.5% of the current global market cap. Roughly speaking, a quarter, right? 25%, which is very, very impressive, okay? So again, I can show you this over here. You can see top layer 1 altcoins by market cap, it's a 518 billion market cap, while DeFi is a bit less. But again, mark my words here, guys. This, I believe, is set to do even better in this bull run. Of course, we're at pretty much lows right now. So if we go to 10 trillion market cap, which a lot of us are expecting, of course, we're at 25% of that, roughly speaking, for these areas. And I dare say even more, because once these begin popping off relative to the rest of the market, all these areas pop up at different times, you'll likely find that Injective, as well as other DeFi, layer 1 altcoins do really well as well. So we'll look at a price prediction here at the very end to give you some indication of what I'm sort of expecting. Now, let's discuss the second part of Pumpamentals, which is the meme. Okay, so it has to be unique, it has to be easily understandable, and it must be contagious. Why is this important? Well, if you're in a good area in crypto, like, again, Web3 Layer 1 or DeFi, that's great. But if your project is, again, quite crappy, there's nothing really unique about it, it's hard to understand, and ultimately, no one's talking about it, it's not going to do as well. It's plain and simple, right? This is very simple human psychology things. This is what we have to look for in a market like crypto, where it's the Wild West right now, unfortunately, all right? Unfortunately. So looking at Injective's meme, it's not the best in the world, but I want to explain to you because it's simple, but I think effective, okay? So essentially, the main unique part of it is that it is a Web3 Layer 1 DeFi heavy altcoin, but allows developers, not the end users, developers here, to create very complex applications simply. Plug and play modules, like they say over here, right? Robust out-of-the-box modules. I might want to take the order book they have already available here. Again, drop that into my code. I might want to take the, let's just say, real-world asset module, and I might want to take the AMM as well, throw that into my application, and there you go. There's half of my application done. I just got to fill in the rest, okay? Not to mention, they have a novel burn mechanism called the Injective Burn Auction. They've burned over 6 million Injectives so far, and I don't know if you guys actually saw back over here, but they're tearing into the max supply of 100 million tokens. There isn't many tokens out there, and they're deflationary at that. That's a big up, okay? Most of the stuff you can find on the homepage of most of these projects, and by the way, if you do want to apply this Pumpamentals research plan to your own altcoin, that's what you want to do. The first half of the homepage is what you really want to be focusing on here. What stands out? This is usually what will make it contagious, what will make it easily understandable. If you can't understand it, likely many other people can't understand it either. Like I said, this burn mechanism here is quite unique, okay? So basically, what this does, and I'll explain it to you here based on their words, the burn mechanism invites participants to bid on a basket of tokens accumulated from a portion of the revenue generated by participating applications and direct contributions from users. So basically, when these applications spin up and are being used, right, we're going on there, we're using these AMMs and stuff like that, what happens? Fees. Where do part of these fees go? To this account. Now, this account, as the end user, you and I, we can bid with their Injective tokens to get that. Now, of course, if you think about it, if there's like, let's just say 10,000 Injective based on the last week of fees sitting in this account, well, obviously we're going to be paying more than 10,000 Injective for it. We might end up paying, let's say, 9,000, but ultimately we get the 10,000, the 9,000 that the winner puts into this auction gets burnt, okay? So it's always likely going to be less than what's been pretty much growing in this account over the last week, but ultimately it's still burning Injective. So it's happy for everyone. Someone's got a whole bunch of free tokens and we're, deflating the supply, which is fantastic. So they've actually burned in this tweet over here recently about 300,000 worth in just 1 week. So they're burning fast. And the beautiful part about this is the more that Injective and the applications on Injective are being used, the more this account will grow. Therefore, likely, the more people will be willing to bid to get this, big pot of Injective cash, if you will, which means prices are going lower, lower, lower. And as you can see here, they've even put a proposal out to decrease this even more, as in decrease the supply by creating a new deflationary mechanism. Now, this is all important. Why? This goes back into the meme. Degens love this. Regular folks love this, guys, because this tells them prices are going to keep going up. That's a meme. Also, BlackRock. Yes, BlackRock. Believe it or not, today we had news. Well, is it today? Yeah, a few hours ago, basically. That Injective has been working on a product here to leverage BlackRock's Build All fund, a tokenized fund for US Treasuries, allowing us to tap into that fund basically, and, well, at least these projects to tap into it and offer us retail users a way that we can use it. Ondo Finance has been using this fund for quite a while. I won't get into it, but essentially these guys are doing one of the firsts in the crypto space now with this fund. What is it? Well, they've launched the Build All Index. Basically, essentially, long story short, right, what they're doing is when this basket of US Treasuries moves up and down, currently right now it's around $500 million. When this does move up and down based on people minting and redeeming these, I guess you could say, US Treasuries that tokenize on Ethereum, they've indexed it. So essentially the index will move up and down depending, and we can actually go ahead and bid on that. Bid on it going up, bid on it going down. So basically we're able to essentially trade this Build All fund. All right, so they're plugging this into a module now, I do believe. So back over here, we spoke about the modules. This will be a module, and it will allow, people to actually, or developers to go in there and plug and play this sort of index as part of one of their features in their protocol, which is quite impressive if you ask me. This talks a little bit about it, and you can pretty much, as the end user, tap into this on the existing products they're offering on Injective with as little as $1. So you can begin trading with as little as $1 and on leverage. So that's all pretty impressive, okay? Part of the meme for sure at this point, coming out today. So this is fantastic stuff. Again, a DeFi focus, real world assets, interoperable, so I haven't spoken too much about that. It's highly connected because it is on the Cosmos IBC connected networks, Ethereum, all the rest of it, okay? Binance Smart Chain. It's out there to a lot of projects, and also it's plug and play. That's kind of the gist of it, if you will. Now, I did want to make a very quick mention here as well, and say that they do have a massive ecosystem fund. Why this is important is because these guys are heavily focused on developers, and as you said with the plug and play modules. So what happens here is that when you have a carrot on the end of the stick saying, hey, we'll give you a bunch of money if you come and use us, and they come and use them and they're like, wow, this is a great area to build, it's going to really spruce up the ecosystem, which is why I think they have so many applications already using and built on Injective. So guys, as this builds out over the next 12, 15 months, as the bull run progresses, we'll likely find some pretty big announcements coming up. Next up is popularity. So looking at the roadmap, marketing, and announcements, very important part. This will help us actually get some of our price targets ultimately, because popularity is when a massive announcement happens and everyone starts FOMOing into the project. All right, we see it all the time. So first of all, let's talk about the marketing, because these guys don't actually have a roadmap. There's no roadmap, which is okay. Not a bad thing at all. Not amazing, because we can kind of hedge into a particular event. But hey, I think their marketing is pretty solid. So let's have a quick look at that. Now, they do have quite a few followers on Twitter, which is an important metric to look at, but what you really want to have a look at instead is the engagements per tweet, roughly speaking, the likes and so on. If they have a lot of followers, barely any engagement, of course, they could have 1 billion followers, but like get a couple of views a tweet, that's saying a lot. And yes, there really are projects out there with those kind of ratios. So make sure you're careful. A great way you can gauge this is by going on Lunar Crush, having a look at the engagements column, and have a look at the average engagements over the last 6 or so months. So these guys are about 2.3 million, which is great. Roughly speaking, you want to have about 1 million engagements per day per every $1 billion worth of market cap. That's at least the ratio I have been working on, and it seems to be following me great. So these guys are over that ratio, which is fantastic. This is a really good sign to see for a project. This tells me that we are seeing a lot of people talk about the project. And if we click back over the last 12 months, you can see here that they do have massive spikes based on news and events. That's why we have a look at this to gauge how much velocity is behind any of the possible updates. Now, one of the last Pumpamentals popularity research methods is having a look at announcements, or basically, what is the chance that based on current and previous information and news that there's going to be some sort of big news in the future? Now, we're seeing updates 24/7 from Injective, right? These guys are very, very good on the Twitter. They don't get a massive amount of engagement, of course, but I think comparable to other projects, it's not too bad, okay? So they do post quite a bit, which is good to see they are engaging. But ultimately speaking, they do have quite a few, I guess you could say, current and past announcements that gives me an indication there's going to be something in the future, right? There's going to be some sort of announcement because these guys know the best time to post an announcement is in the heat of a bull run very soon. So obviously we had the recent tokenized index I just spoke about. We also had things like the partnership with Ondo, right? Tokenizing US treasuries available now on Injective. Again, this is a DeFi heavy, real world asset heavy project. Also, they work with PYTH to allow Injective in EVM, which is basically smart contracts, right? Allow these developers to plug and play any of PYTH's price feeds, which obviously is very important in DeFi in general. And in saying that as well, PYTH has about 99% of the TVS on Injective. Just so I throw that in there for a bit of FYI. So overall, popularity is not the best in the world. I would have loved a good roadmap. I would have loved a whole bunch more bullish updates over the last 12 months. Now, in saying that as well, I must admit that they are doing quite a lot on the technical side of things. Just in August, we've seen a lot of updates. This post here by a gentleman from Everstake touches on these in this recap. One of these things is the additional burn mechanism. They also do boast a lot of amazing technical upgrades as well. They have reduced, as you can see here, their block times, making transactions faster. Very important for something like DeFi and a whole bunch of stuff. So they're really doing a great job. I can't deny that. Again, we compare it to projects that have robust roadmaps and all that. And yeah, it doesn't quite compete with that. But ultimately, is this a very detrimental thing? No. So big ups to Injective here. Now, let's have a look at tokenomics. FDV, vesting, emissions, and the distribution. Believe it or not, FDV actually isn't even that important to have a look at, but tokenomics is in general. Now, why do I say that? You might be asking yourself. Well, FDV is the future diluted value of a project at whenever all the tokens are out. Now, we're not selling whenever all the tokens are out. We're selling in 2025. Okay, so it doesn't quite impact us, but the good news is that Injective doesn't even care because all the tokens are out. Matter of fact, of course, they're burning tokens now, so it's decreasing, of course, over time at an exponential rate as well. So low/no increase to FDV. This will say there's an increase to FDV because there's 97 million tokens. That's because, part and partial have burnt some of these tokens as well, and CoinMarketCap doesn't do a very good job of pulling all the information in. Nevertheless, though, they also do allow users to stake. Of course, being a Cosmos-related network, this is pretty normal. So there is about a 10%-ish APR right now, which is quite good. A 21-day unlock period, though, I must admit. And, of course, with this burn mechanism, that is even better because prices will go up. This is all very appealing for degens, okay? So 3-week unlock time isn't the best, but of course, if you are a little bit cautious with your unlocks, you can do that prematurely and be probably quite fine. So next, let's talk about the distribution. So the distribution here, having a look at the vesting schedule, actually is quite intense. So it's like a lot going to the what I call third parties here, or the team private sales, Launchpad, seed sale, and also the advisors. So it's a total of, again, almost 55%, while not much is going towards non-third parties. Third parties are people that can dump their tokens whenever they so wish. And so if we came over here and essentially removed all of these guys, it kind of looks a little bit different. Okay, so I love token unlocks because we can actually do this to have a better idea. But ultimately, they're all out, so we can likely expect them to sell if they have any left. But otherwise, this is good for at least the public's perception of unlock or dilution. Okay, there's a lot that goes into crypto economics, I must admit. A lot of people don't understand it. It's too much to go into in this video. Either way, it definitely gets big ticks in my eyes, so good job, Injective. And lastly, let's have a look at the team, okay? So are they doxed? What is their history in and out of crypto, and do they have any good connections? What do I always say, guys? Connections matter. It's not what you know, it's who you know. You can get promoted to not the CEO position, but pretty much anything under the CEO position by the CEO if you know him or her very well over the course of time. It's always your connections. So let's have a look now at Injective. Now, Injective does have a pretty great team, but importantly, this last line down here, right, we're about to read now, is the most important thing to remember. We don't need anything impressive here, guys. We just need a on-par team, a team that just looks okay. No one's going to complain otherwise. It's all again a part of Pumpamentals. But Injective Labs is the main contributor to Injective, being a decentralized project. They have contributors to the code. They don't own the project per se. It's leaderless and so on. So we have the CEO and co-founder here, Eric, and also Albert, the CTO. These two guys are the top two dogs, most important people to look at in this case. These guys have experience in, well, Eric does at least, in a major hedge fund previously and studied at NYU, while Albert was over here at Stanford as well. So I will just have a look at their social profiles because I think it's important to know if these guys tweet something, will there be much attention? Well, Eric has quite a few followers. Albert, not so much as well, but again, it's not always about this. This is just an addition to the quality of the team. So they're all doxed, by the way. This is a very good thing as well. They do have good connections, of course, coming from prestigious universities in really good areas. They're likely well connected, of course, which is, I think, part and parcel the reason why we've seen such a good success in Injective, and actually, surprise, surprise, why we've seen so many quality investors as well. You don't get these guys clamoring on to crap projects, especially Mark Cuban, Pantera, AU21 Hashed, CMS, Binance Labs. Some of these guys I don't know that are quality as well, Binance and so on. So 25 investors, about $50 million raised. That's quite good in my personal opinion. So what's my price prediction and overall rating? Well, going off, roughly speaking, the dominance, which is all we can do for price predictions, keep in mind, disclaimer, price predictions are exactly that, a prediction made at the current time. This is subject to change even tomorrow. No one's a bloody genie. No one's an oracle. This is a guess. But based on data, in my personal opinion, we can expect, roughly speaking, between a 32 and 96 billion market cap, depending on if this project or the global market goes to 5 to 10 trillion and 10 to 15x's market dominance from the lows, which is slightly above normal. Normal is about a 5 to 10x from the lows, but I think Injective can do a bit more than that just because of the quality of the project. So overall, my prediction comes out to, or at least the data comes out to $320 and 960. That's a 19x to 57x. Of course, on the extreme high side, that's likely not going to happen. 100 million tokens, of course, all been in circulation, which is the worst case. These guys are burning tokens, so the prices will actually be even better at these market cap valuations. But my personal prediction is about $500 or a 50 billion market cap. Again, like I said, I think at $500, the market cap will roughly be about 40 to 45 billion, so a bit less, so more digestible. Overall, my rating here is 90 out of 100. Now, what do you do with this information, by the way? Because there's no point in you saying, oh, Clarence price prediction for this coin was $500, at least as of today. Cool, that's great. It doesn't work like that. Price predictions are exactly that, a prediction. You need to backtrack that from the very top and go, what's a reasonable level to get out of? The green, gray, and red zone, as we call them on the channel, right? So the $500 price prediction, you should be moving down 25% to find what's called the red zone. The red zone is where you don't want to look to sell. Highly illiquid, okay? Not many buyers, a lot of sellers. Price can zip back down very quickly. The gray zone's a buffer. That's 35% off the top. That's $325. This now becomes the top of what's called the green zone, which is essentially where you don't want to be selling anything above, okay, only below. So really the price prediction technically at this price, $500, is $325, which gives you a 19x anyway. It's about a 20x or so, which is pretty good from today's prices. Just note that, of course, the higher multiples you look for, the more risk you put on the table. Looking for a 20x, you incur 40% risk, whereas if you're much safer, much more in the green zone down here, let's say looking for $200, that might only be, let's just say, a 10x, for example, which, as you can see over here, is only 20% risk. So assess this carefully, do your own due diligence, and be safe out there. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video today. I hope you have enjoyed. And if you have, hit that like button. Let me know you want to see more of these, what coins next, and we'll get to it very soon. Take good care. Bye.